Good day, race fans, and welcome to the Intentional Wreck podcast made by race fans for race fans, from the casuals to the lifelong gearheads. My name is Jeff. I'm here with my fellows Corey and Finn. We are all together this week. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify and Twitch under the name Intentional Wreck. You can find us on the socials at IntWreckPod. That's at INTWRECKPOD. And you'll be able to find our own Finn doing commentary on the Moonlight Racing League, which has been going on for the last couple of weeks, and been pretty exciting from what I can tell, and I think we can lead off with that. Finn, why don't you tell us about what's been going on with that lately?
Yeah, man. So last week we did the Daytona recap, and I showed you a good pass for the win, and we showed actually a little bit of film on how that broadcast went. There were some challenges, and Corey, I don't know if you happen to see that, but yeah, I went through audio, video. I wouldn't say hell, but purgatory for a little bit. Definitely gaining respect for the way that you guys have to handle things and camera changes. So this week was going to be different, right? Different things to talk about, right? From following a pack, I could switch cameras, but I didn't really have to focus on a length spaced out field in that story with Daytona. Texas, completely different scenario, right? In the Texas thing, everybody's getting stretched out. So I have to not only just be switching camera angles, but drop into different parts of the track to see different battles and things like that. Trying to catch and consolidate and understand all that action and all the story of the race, despite only having one camera angle and only one source of information. So super big challenge. And of course, different things to watch, right? Versus the draft and who's making moves versus tire wear, lap times, gap management, tire management, who took what. So fun race. Things like a caution 30 laps in, about 15 guys took 2 tires, so we got to see some tire mismatch. Had a long green flag run at the very end of this race in which there was a car who had taken 2 tires earlier, and at the end of a long run, despite all of these guys with 4 fresh tires working through the field, he had not only held his place, but was then running people down. So I was like, whoa, this guy's so quick that on old tires, he's running down new tires. And he is cycled out to the front of this race when everybody got even tires after stage. And it was a 3-car battle to see who can manage tires. I thought he was going to run away with it, but this other guy, Daniel Smith, found some tires earlier. He ended up staying out 4 laps later on a green flag pit stops, and then ran him down, the leader down by, he was 4.5 seconds back, and he ran him down and passed him for the lead. Meanwhile, P3 was faster than both of those guys, but he was 7 seconds back. He ran him down. He got it to about a second, maybe 2 seconds, and then the tires he killed the tires even out. So we got to watch tire wear, got to watch different strategies, green flag stops leading to the end of the race. So super fun race there, and I'm excited. And they've been, I've seen them pop in here. We've kind of seen the numbers on our podcast kind of go up a little bit. So we appreciate that partnership a lot, and all you guys in that league that are popping in here. So we'll keep, like we had mentioned, we're not going to go through, I don't know if we're going to do this every week where we kind of update on that race, but if you want good virtual iRacing, and I think a pretty good broadcast, head over to the MRL Moonlight Racing League YouTube, watch those races. They do a bunch of series, but I'm on the Wednesday night series, and yeah, we'll try to keep you guys posted on maybe some highlights throughout the season, maybe some good finishes and things like that.
So one question I had for you from a broadcast perspective, like with you kind of doing the in the booth idea, I know that while you're racing, iRacing doesn't like give you a visual like tire wear meter while you're running. You have to wait till you get to the pits for that.
Right.
Do you get any kind of tools like that while you're kind of watching to be able to kind of relay that to anybody that's like watching from the outside to kind of say this person is doing that? Or is that kind of more of a spoiler that they don't want drivers to be able to catch?
Right. It's one of those things that it's not information that's given in real life, and iRacing tries to do that, give you that in real life, right? So you're not going to get live tire data. What'll happen is, like you mentioned, when you pit, you can then view the percentages and the temperatures of your tire and get that. So from the booth perspective, the tool that I have is lap times, right? Early in the run, I can see guys pushing to be 2-3 tenths faster than the rest of them. And at almost every single track or mile and a half on the circuit, Corey will tell you, he's raced on them, you can be fast now, but I'm going to be faster later type deal. So you can kind of see these guys rushing up through the field, passing a bunch of cars early in a run, and then, that's how you kind of build the storyline, if you will, is kind of be like, all right, well, he's,
Right.
you know, and you could see it. You can see when somebody's managing tires and a couple
Yeah.
guys managing, and when somebody's pushing to be 2-3 tenths faster, especially after like 10 laps into, or 5 to 10 laps into a restart, because obviously you got to go get your positions on a restart, push a little bit, but then even out, cool the tires off, run consistent laps, and don't kill them. The guys that are the fastest in that group tend to be the dudes who are losing tire and losing positions later. So
I didn't know if like from the booth perspective, if they gave you any other different tool
yeah.
set than what the drivers had.
Well, so there is a cool software that I have from SDK, and what happens is, and whenever I load into the session, it's kind of two planes, right? So the first plane is it'll auto-populate all the drivers, their current position. I see lap times, I see fastest lap, I see gap, I see last pit, I see his in lap for pit, his out lap for pitting, their pit stop time. That's how I can kind of guesstimate tires. You know, 6-7 second stop is gonna be 2 tires. 14 seconds is gonna be 4 tires. 6 seconds will be 2 tires. So I can see all those things. Not only that, when I click on that driver, it changes the camera in the iRacing. So I don't even have to
Gotcha.
change camera. It's a link to the iRacing session. So I click on the driver. The next panel is kind of like the production visual, right? Do I want to have a tower, or do I want to have a ticker going across the top of the screen with the
Right.
standings, right? Do I want to bring up a graphic that shows the last 5 laps compared to this guy and the person in front of him? So I can show those lap times, right? And that's what I would like to get better at from the broadcast, is being able to go and bring those things up, because you know, that's good information to have. Things like you can see like on throttle, off throttle, right? Brake and on brake. There's camera angle things, and also there's a cool thing to change camera and then to map the camera to the next one. So what I can, there's two panels for the cameras. The left one is the one that you're currently on, and then there's a staging one. So then if I can go to the staging one and say cockpit. So say I'm on the TV camera and I go, okay, well, I'm about to go on board with this driver. So I'll go hit cockpit, and then the moment I change the camera to the other driver, it'll go to cockpit view versus TV view. It's really cool software. It does a great job at helping me. It's very customizable if you know a lot of CSS code and stuff like that. And it really makes it fluid. That being said, my Stream Deck that has all of my cameras mapped did not work about 5 minutes before the race, and I was in full panic mode.
Naturally, right?
Shocker, software update on the Stream Deck. So that did that, but yeah, just every week going through challenges, and it's a fun time. So fun league, enjoying doing it, and it's cool. It's cool to be in the booth. And I was wondering if I would. I mean, the football games I do are like 40 minutes. These races are like. We're pushing 2 hours, so I was curious if I could talk that long. Which y'all know me, I can talk that long.
Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, but I mean, either way, this like honestly, like since we started doing the pod, it's really cool to have a partnership like that, to be able to have kind of something else to like reference, and it kind of makes things unique. I really like working with this particular thing because I think it's kind of cool to like have something that like there's a tie between our show and that league, and it allows us to have, you know, kind of a connection to highlight some of the stories and highlight some of the other things that are going on like that. And to be honest, like in the racing world, especially with something like NASCAR, you have a lot of sameness. I mean, hell, by the time we're recording on Tuesday, most of the you know, top of the market podcasts and YouTube shows and other folks have already broken down and analyzed every inch of the track,
Right.
you know, that was covered during a race. There's only so much that we can actually say that's going to add to that. Obviously, our own perspectives are something to add to that, and we hope more folks want to come in and hear those in general, right?
Right.
But having something else that allows us to kind of go back and showcase and highlight, it makes things a little bit more fun, and stretches to add to some of the quality of the content we can put out as well. So I enjoy that. Moving to the next part, for those who I guess you may not notice, but Corey's here now. And I know that you had yourself a long last couple of weeks with traveling back and forth between Florida and Virginia and trying to get stuff moved around. How you feeling?
Buddy, I am so relieved. Like I don't even know how to like put it into words, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting that question, but dude, it's been, I mean, Rachel and I started dating 16 months ago, almost 17 months of long distance flying back and forth, me in Florida, her here, looking at the calendar, booking flights, booking Airbnbs. Where are we going? Do I need a car? Am I driving? Am I flying? All of that is done now.
Yeah. For all of you out there that are wondering or considering things on wondering if long distance works, the thing to remember, yeah, it's hard, but it can work. And Corey's proof of it.
It can work. And you know what, man? Like it's really, really interesting too, because it's like, it's challenge right from the beginning. So it's like you know, a lot of people, you kind of have this sort of like, you're dating and it's fun and it's cool, but it's like for me and Rachel, it was hard work right from the beginning, and it was like choosing it. But all the like all the travel, all the flying, all this, and the hotels and all that, it's all done now. She lives right there in my room at my mom's house. So
Mom's house by choice. Mom, so this out there.
All by choice. Yes.
Mom's house by choice. All right.
You know what? Hey, multi-generational homes are making a comeback.
Is that just a way of...
Bro,
we said no politics on the chat. Multi-generational homes because the world is poor, Corey, not because it's fun.
For whatever the reason. I mean, honestly, it should have been this way all along.
Corey's not beating the millennial allegations. That's for damn sure.
For what it's worth, I constantly tell my daughter she can live with me until she's 80. I don't care. So,
yes.
So that would imply I'm alive when she's 80. So that's good. But I agree. I agree. So, yeah, glad to have you back and locked in. So the travel's done.
Travel's done.
Yeah.
This will be my camera shot for the foreseeable future. Though
Love it.
we're blurred for today as some things move around. I'm not sure it's going to stay that way or not, but we'll see. Oh, but my office is in the living room is right there. My office is here up against the front windows, Jeff, knowing the basement. The poker table is gone.
Oh no.
I'm sitting. The poker table's in storage. It's going to go to Colin's house. We're good. There will be poker games, but we had to make some moves for now. So, but yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So Dover, am I right?
That's awesome.
Dover.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, because I have some things I wanted to talk about with Dover that I think are interesting, and they also tie back to some of the things that Finn specifically said. But before we get to Dover, there's a little segment we like to do on this show. I guess I like to do on this show because nobody else seems to like to do it. It's called Victory Lane. And as I was telling the guys earlier, I am now, I think, on Petty, Johnson, Earnhardt territory on number of times I'm hitting that this year. So I will be doing that. For those who aren't aware, or any of our new viewers, on Victory Lane is a segment where whoever got the prediction closest to the top, closest to first place in the race, gets to speak for 1 minute about whatever they want, uninterrupted, unargued, through that minute's time frame, and we'll be carrying through that point. I mean, so that's where we on. I have a subject regarding today that I was sad. Today we lost a legend. Today, the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne himself, passed. And for any of my fellow headbangers out there and other fans of heavy metal, and I mean just fans of rock and roll in general, but like for the rest of us who appreciate a good growl and a solid heavy guitar riff and anything relating to the metal scene, and it's a big day. This was somebody that really means a lot. I mean, honestly, at this point, the original Black Sabbath album really is the Anno Domini of heavy metal in general for a lot of people. Sure, some people could argue that to a certain extent, but I'm not the only one that would consider that album that released in 1970 to be sort of the dawn of what we consider heavy metal today. And so much influence on so many bands that have come so far. And it was very interesting to see Ozzy get to his last show that he will ever perform a couple of weeks ago. Got through that show, performed it, did a hell of a job, sang the whole damn thing from a throne, and did about as good as you could expect for a 76-year-old man with all the ailments and all the things that he's been through. And after he had basically given everything to this world, this genre, to rock and roll, to music, he was done and he went. And it's a sad day for all, but also his legacy will live on in the genre of heavy metal for long, long beyond his years. So to that, I say R.I.P. Ozzy. Yeah, you are more influential than you will ever know. So yeah, but in brighter news,
Best Ozzy song, Jeff.
it depends. I personally like. I have a few. Like if you're talking about in the Sabbath days, I mean, Paranoid was definitely a really, really solid one. If you want to be sentimental, Mama, I'm Coming Home always like really, really hits that. Like
Mama, I'm Coming Home is mine. Number one.
that's. I mean, like I listened to that with a few tears in my eyes today. No exaggeration.
Yeah.
Not even lying. Like I got in the car this afternoon on my way home after I got the news, blasted that at full bore and listened to Ozzy for the rest of the day for everywhere else that I was driving back. So yeah, I've got multiple. I'm a big fan of the collab he did with Lemmy from Motorhead, Hellraiser. I love both versions of that song. I think they both put a great twist on it. Both fantastic. I could go on for hours about this one. So this isn't the heavy metal podcast, but could be coming soon to a pod near you. But
reaction, intentional rec reactions.
Yeah, intentional rec reactions. All like that. But on to the racing and the motors and the vroom vrooms of it all.
Hold on. I just want to point out that these guys know better than to ask me what my favorite old metal song is, because they know I don't listen to old ass metal. But
because old metal for Finn was in like 1998. New metal was old metal for Finn. So.
I don't even listen. This isn't a hate. I like Ozzy. I really liked his collab with Post Malone. I know that's like the most like Gen Z millennial thing to say, but like that was good stuff.
Well, I had I was having a conversation with my niece about this. She's a teenager, and when I walked in today, like the first thing she said after hi, she was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry to hear about your guy," and I'm like, "That's wow." I was surprised. I mean, for anybody that lives with a teenager out there, you kind of understand that's like, hey, you don't always get something.
Feelings?
I take that where I could get it.
Feelings.
And she said that, and I really appreciated it because she knew I was going through it, and so there was that. But we were having a conversation, and we were in the car, and I had Ozzy playing, and that song came on. And I was saying, like, this is the thing that's kind of crazy is like his first like Dawn album was in 1970, and he collabed with artists all throughout the spectrum for 50 plus years. And here he is with that album, and then here he is also putting out a song with Post Malone and Travis Scott. Like holy crap. That's you talk about transcending.
Yeah.
The Ozman transcendeth. That's for damn sure. So
you be transcendent.
He be transcendent. That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That's the thing though, Finn, is that like you can say, yeah, I don't listen to like old ass metal. Like you've listened to inspirations for sure, and things that you've listened to have been inspired by, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
All right, Dover went about as good as it could for this podcast. About as good as it could. Almost. Denny not being the winner would have been better, I think, for this podcast.
Well, that's a subjective way to put it.
But a fun race. Interesting. Dover didn't seem to do too hot on the Gluck pole, and definitely some struggles late in that race with Bell being unable to pass a older tire Hamlin. But
so to that point,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
You said that because this is something I wanted to touch on when you were talking about Moonlight too. Denny Hamlin ran the fastest lap of the day, faster than anybody else on track, on tires far older than anybody else on the track. People had tires that were 20 plus laps fresher than him.
Right.
And he still managed to run the fastest lap of the entire day on those old ass tires.
But didn't this track like cool down by like 25 degrees or something?
There was definitely a cool period.
The temperature dropped significantly when those clouds started rolling in.
And it rained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right. But like before it rained, the clouds rolled in and the track cooled off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I mean, that'll do it. I mean, that'll pick your lap times up pretty quick.
Well, right. But we're talking about, everybody else is on the track. Everybody else is out there doing their thing. And we had multiple restarts there at the end while he was on the old tires, and he still got up front and went. I mean, we went to overtime. It's not like we're talking about this being finished on a long run. This was him running this, I believe it was during one of the overtime laps, if not on one of the final restarts within those last 14 after the rain went out. So
I'm going to say this. If the car with fresher tires chasing Denny Hamlin, in all those restarts, it was Bell, and then it was Briscoe, was not also a Gibbs driver, I don't think Hamlin's winning that race. And it's not to say Hamlin's not good, but I felt like Bell...
Well, that would just be silly.
I felt like Bell and Briscoe raced Hamlin with a lot of teammate respect. Even on that restart, Briscoe was... I mean, he had a good start, got up, side drafting, getting up against the tire, but there wasn't contact. He didn't use them up. And that's a testament to just those guys all having wins right now. So not having to worry about playoffs in terms of making it. They're in, so they race each other clean. But I think
Bowman was in the mix on that as well, though.
Well, Bowman was...
And not to mention, up front, it was JGR and Hendrick.
Right.
Throughout the majority of it, it was like...
Well, I'm just talking about very specific... I'm talking very specifically to those restarts, right? Very specifically to the point where Bell ran Hamlin down on fresher tires and then was trying to get by him. There wasn't this like you're not going to move Denny Hamlin if you're his teammate. You're not going to do it. And Hamlin, for what it's worth, roles reverse, it's the same thing. Those Gibbs guys race well together. Credit to where it's due. They race well together.
And against each other.
Yes.
They you don't to your point, yes, absolutely. There's some teamwork that's happening there. Right. But historically, this is one of the things that has historically frustrated people about Denny anyway, to put it mildly. Is that even with his own teammates, because he's frustrated his own teammates in the past with not necessarily being very easy to pass or being very lenient when he's going for a pass, especially up on the front when he's driving, with some of his own teammates. I can distinctly remember multiple times with Truex, and specifically those two kind of button heads a little bit because, Hamlin wasn't the one that was given friendly space. So Dover's already a tough place to pass. But like we saw early in the race where the 19 took off after clearing the 9, and then the 9 ran him down and passed him. So it's not a scenario where you can't pass cars. You talked about the 48. 48 had a rocket ship for about 75% of that race. And it was long run speed. So same with the 9.
Right.
Yeah,
well, the 9 had the rocket ship, right?
Yes.
Out the gate speed, gone throughout the time speed. The 48 did not take off well, but he worked his way up from 16, 17 in the pack to passing Hamlin for P2. You know what I mean? Like, he was running cars down and passing them. So this is not a scenario, it wasn't a race while watching it where I was like, hey, man, they can't pass. This sucks. This is a single file train, right? The issue is every single time the guys got up to catch the leaders, a stage was ending. I hate it, but if you're going to look and say, because for what it's worth, people go, oh, you can't pass on this car. Yes, you can. Especially at I'm watching passing occur, okay? I'm watching tire wear matter. I'm watching lap times drop. And I'm seeing guys move up and down through the field. But it takes a while for the cars to catch lap traffic. Then the leaders get sucked in. And then a stage bails that battle out. You know what I mean? And that's my frustration. Because guess what? We used to watch cars on old tires outrun people. It's not uncommon. Sure. That's not that's not a Gen 7 thing. So specifically, yes, it's a little bit different with the less horsepower and more aero blocking, which is a thing. But in my mind, I think the issue was so much just every time we had a tire mismatch or whatever, something was ending and a stage would end. Because if those battles had to occur naturally or if green flag stops, we're going to see undercuts and pit road scenarios. We are going to see guys fade because they were pushing too fast and got caught up behind lap traffic and go. But there wasn't a single time where it happened and a stage didn't end. So,
Well, and speaking of lap traffic, and also when people make the argument about the older gen cars, this is one thing that always kind of gets me a little bit. Is I kind of wonder if some of the, I mean, it's going to happen, right? But a lot of times people will make argument points that will suit a specific narrative regarding when things were better in the good old days type of thing. And lap traffic is one of those things that I find that happening sometimes. Like, so we had a specific point earlier in the race where, you know, Denny's catching up towards lap traffic and he gets up towards Dylan. And, you know, he wasn't getting by or he wasn't making it easy to pass and stuff like
Right.
that. And I feel like you get, like, depending on the situation, you can kind of have people try to make sense out of both narratives when it doesn't really make sense for both of them to be true at the same time, where people will say, well, you know, back in the day, or it's just custom and it's kind of unwritten that your lap traffic, you let the guy get by there, you know, you let the leaders race and blah blah blah. But then at the same time, you will also hear people say, well, no, back in the day you had the lap traffic, like you had to work for every pass even if you were passing a lapper and blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
like
I
seven
hear
cars
both
on the
points.
lead lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear both of those,
Right.
depending on the race day, and people, like, I feel like are stretching, you know, the
Right.
convenience of either point. And I don't know, it's interesting.
So here's the thing. It's like, first of all, we have guaranteed cautions. Guaranteed cautions mean guaranteed lucky dogs. If you are only about to be one lap down on a
Right.
short track where you never know what something's going to happen, right? Where everybody's constantly battling issues constantly. There's no time to breathe at Dover. It's just high speed bank, right? Like there's no time to breathe. Anything can
Right.
happen. You have to do everything you can to not only stay on the lead lap if you can stay on the lead lap, but you need to hold up as much as possible so the guy in front of you gets the distance, so that when he does eventually pass you, it takes a while for him to catch that guy. Maybe a caution comes out, or maybe the stage break occurs. For me, I don't think lap cars need to give the leader a free pass until way later in the race when kind of the cards have been set. You know, we're in stage 3 and you know a stage caution isn't coming and the leaders are battling and he's just catching. All right, go. But early in this race, it could be something random that's stopping you that's you being back in the field and kind of getting lapped. Hell, you could be running 15th and be getting lapped in this scenario if the green flag run was long enough. And you're probably only a 10th, 2/10 slower than the leader. Why would I have to pass? Like that's another thing too. It's like,
Sure.
I'm not so much slower that I'm getting lapped on speed. You are getting lapped on speed, but like you're not that much slower than the leader. So why not fight him? He can't clear you. You have to be
Right.
about 3 to 5 tenths faster than somebody in this car to pass them on some of these tracks. They're not that much faster.
I find it interesting, like, if you do go back to a previous time, I kind of wonder if this would, like, what this would look like from a stage perspective. But we're, you know, only a couple of decades far removed from a time in which a guy that was a lap down started a restart right up with up
Yeah.
front. They just were doing so a lap down, which was chaotic but thoroughly entertaining. Like years ago, where, you know, you go back and watch these old races, it's kind of jarring when you watch it now. But you know, you can go back and watch races like I was watching an old Richmond race, I think from like 2006, 2007, something like that.
Mhm.
And that was still happening at that point where they're coming around on a restart and here's your lappers in the low lane,
Right.
right next to the leaders, and then there's the green flag and they're right up front, but they're a lap down at the time.
And you hate that because now you don't have like a true fight. You just have like the leader clearing and then a guy stuck between two lappers to try to clear. If the trade-off is restarts, which we get more of thanks to stages, are more of the leaders up front fighting, then the trade-off is when you do catch a lapper, he needs to do what he can. Because what would you rather do? Would you rather have to pass Ty Dillon with your 3-second lead as the leader and it be a little bit tough? Or would you rather have to pass Ty Dillon, who's in front of you, while the leader is getting away from you right now on this very key restart, especially in this era of car, where
Right.
it's a lot
Aero
harder.
makes a big difference as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So imagine having to fight past Ty Dillon and Daniel Suarez yesterday just to get to Denny Hamlin with tires. Chaos. It would not be fun at all, especially if Denny Hamlin especially if Suarez and who was the other lapper I was talking about, Ty Dillon, had the fresh tires. So like Denny's on old tires, you're on older tires, and these guys are lappers that just took 4 fresh tires. You're definitely not passing them now.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think the trade-off is that. But I mean, I think it was a solid Dover race. It was interesting. A lot of tire strategies. The 9 made a mistake on pit road, got cycled back. Then the 9 decided to get tires when track position was king at the end of the race there, and that set him back, kind of handed the win to the 11.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be Dover without some rain.
Wouldn't be Dover without
Yeah.
some rain. Can't escape it.
Practice and qualified canceled, and then you get that late rain. It was wild because they're running through the whole thing and they're getting through the middle of the 3rd stage, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they might make it. It might happen. They might find a way to run Dover without some rain on race Sunday. Nah, man, you can't do that. You can't run Dover without
Bro,
rain.
when I
on
saw
race
that
Sunday.
text from you on Saturday, practice and qualifying canceled for rain, I like busted out laughing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, it's inescapable, dude. They moved it to the summer, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
April, May, June, we got late July this time, doesn't matter. It's going to rain. Whenever they go to Dover, pack a poncho. It's raining.
For any new listeners out there, like, so this is where this is it for any new listeners. I'll give you some background on this because Corey and I have an interesting history when it comes to rain at Dover. So a few years back, the 3 of us and a few other friends, we had gone to Richmond that year, and then our second race, I think it was Corey, this was going to be your second race. So we go to Dover that year because those are our closest, our home tracks. And it's funny when I talk to other NASCAR fans and I tell them my 2 like home tracks are Richmond and Dover, I usually get looks of sympathy like immediately when that happens. But that happens like all the time. But so our history with that is, so we went that year, we get about 100 laps into the race and it's rained out, and it's going to happen on Monday. We all got to get in the car, drive 2 hours, go home, and we're all sitting, trying to find ways to stream the race and watch during work on Monday is the way that worked out, right? And then, so we're like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. So the next year, Corey and I are
2024.
23.
The first one was 23. Now we're on to 24.
First
Oh,
one was
wait, no,
23.
I'm sorry. You're right.
We didn't go last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
We didn't go there.
And
we never will again. We never will again.
We went.
So yeah, 22 was when we all went. 23 was when we had this situation. So Corey and I are prepared the next year. We're deciding, okay, we're going to do this. Like, we both make sure we take off an extra day of work to account for Monday. And we both were in agreement. We're like, if this thing is pushed to Monday, we're going to be ready, and we're still going to this damn race. We're going to make this thing happen. So we're like, all right, cool, let's do this. And we get in the car on Sunday leading up to that time. For days leading into that race, and I am not exaggerating, the forecast is rain all weekend in Dover. There is 99.9% chance of heavy rains all day on Sunday and Saturday in Dover, Delaware. Like, there was no mystery about it. Like, the forecast was the exact same from about Tuesday all the way up through Saturday. And the whole time, I'm just refreshing Pockrass's Twitter feed over and over and over again, waiting for it to go, race getting bumped to Monday. So we don't get in the car and drive 2.5 hours to Dover, only to find that on the way that it's getting bumped, right? And we were texting all the way up until the time.
And we didn't find out on the way.
No, because we got in the car, and this whole time we were both kind of grumpy, right? We're on the way up, and we're like, this is gonna happen, isn't it? Like, this is gonna get canceled. Like, I was cranky as hell up there because I had gotten all the tailgate stuff together. I had stuff ready for the grill. I made a bunch of food. Like, I was ready to go, right? And I'm doing so begrudgingly because I'm like, I know this shit's gonna happen. Like, are we even like, fuck it? So we get in the car, we drive 2.5 hours to Dover, Delaware. And we get there, and it still hasn't rained yet. Okay, fine. The sky is gray as shit. But man, It hasn't happened yet. So we're like, okay, fine. We get out of the car. We set up all the tailgate gear. I get my grill set up. I've cracked a beer. We're ready to go. I've lit fire. I've lit my chimney, and my coals have just gotten hot. Y'all know that feeling if you're grilling when you know that the coals are just hot enough
That's right.
that you're
That's
about to throw the food on it and it's ready to go, right? And we had just gotten comfortable. The second that those coals were hot enough and I was about to throw the first burger on the grill, someone from a few cars over walks over and goes, "Hey, I don't know if y'all saw, but they pushed the race to tomorrow." I'm like, what are you, like, what?
It was, I mean, no,
I'm like,
he's not exaggerating or overplaying that timing at all. That is exactly how it happened. Like
yeah.
hot coals, canopy up, ass in chair, beer open, race cancel. Like,
And we're both just like, and we both had this like, I know at that moment, like I had this like Big Lebowski, I'm finishing my coffee moment, because like at that point, like I was holding food and like my beer was open. I'm like, we're gonna have lunch in the goddamn parking lot is what we're gonna do.
in the pouring rain.
Yeah, we had a
Rain.
yeah, we had a pop up. We just sat there in the pouring rain with no race that day and just ate lunch in a parking lot, and then cooled everything off, got in the car, drove home, and then, being the intelligent people that we were, we got it instead of like getting a hotel or doing anything like that and staying there. We drove all the way back to Virginia, and then got in the car on Monday and drove back up there again the next day.
That damn race.
To get to one of the most poorly run
Yeah. Well, that's not a
sporting
whole story.
situations I've ever dealt with in my life.
For a multitude of reasons, I will never set foot in that track again.
They
It was
only
so bad.
staffed it halfway. Like we got there, like they didn't account for the amount of people that were actually going to show up.
Yeah.
Trying to get in, like we were standing in line outside waiting to get our ticket scanned when we heard the first lap happen.
It was almost like they forgot a race was happening. That's how it was staffed.
Oh yeah.
For the Monday race. It was wild, dude. It was wild.
A great race, which was the only thing that changed it. It was a fantastic race.
This was the Truex Ross Chastain battle.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Getting beat up in the middle of the race, but getting pissed off at Chastain and held him up so Truex could come around and yeah.
Oh yeah, Larson was trolling Chastain the whole race.
Yes. Larson got beat up and was basically out of it and trolled Chastain because Chastain was one of the reasons why his car got so beat up.
Chastain was the reason because he pushed Yaley into the corner and wiped Larson out. Larson had nothing to do with it. He just caught the worst part of the wreck.
Yeah,
dude. I will never, dude. In all of my years, I will never forget that weekend. That was one of the wildest sporting event attendances I've ever done in my life.
Dover, I was a little shocked in person. I don't know how I feel about the infield being as raised as it is.
It is very weird.
It's very
because of the horse track.
Yeah, it's just super weird scenario. I was like a little taken aback when we were there live, and I was like, oh, this is kind of tough to watch. Like the front stretch, it's so. Like, and then you kind of have to look over shit. And we didn't get much racing in when we went that one time. So maybe it would have. Yeah. It was one of those like fever dream things. I just didn't feel like I even went, but I got to watch 50 laps at Dover, and then like that was it, type deal.
Yeah, every other like you figure almost every other day of the year there that's used as a horse track. I mean, obviously not the concrete. That would be wild, but the inner part of the infield. That's also a horse track. So, the views are coming from over on the casino side rather than the actual like track side. So it's raised up in a way that allow for like those views to be able to see and that the horses to be able to move around and stuff like that.
I did not know. I did not know there was a horse track in the middle of Dover.
Yeah, well, you'd never know when you go on race day because it looks like it's just concrete as far as the eye can see, or things are covered in a certain way. But the infield of Dover works is that way. It's Dover Downs is another horse track.
Yeah, I knew what Dover Downs was. I just didn't know it was in Jeff. I didn't know it was in Dover.
Leave it to Jeff to know the horse racing lore of Dover Speedway.
Well, it's a big betting scene, and Jeff nailed the bets. He bet on a top 3 of the 11, 19, and 48. And how much did you bet? What did that even pay out?
Oh, it wasn't a lot, man. I don't gamble high. I don't gamble
Yeah,
high
but I
dollars.
mean,
It was a couple of bucks. Like that
but
was
even
weird.
then, like $2 had to pay out at least like 15, $20.
Right. So the way this panned out was, so I didn't bet on Denny for this one, like just because like I have a thing when I gamble is I don't bet on my own teams. And that includes like
Yeah.
with NASCAR, I don't bet on my own drivers. I don't bet on my own teams. That's just not I look at it like brain versus heart kind of a thing, right? So I typically won't do that. So for this, like I said to Finn in our group chat, like as we're in the earlier part of the race, I was like, hey guys, I laid a couple bets on this one. I said my most ideal finish would be the 11, the 19, and the 48 because I bet for Chase Briscoe and Alex Bowman to finish in the top three because FanDuel was being kind of weird and didn't offer a top 5 or a top 10 or any dual options by the time that I was betting it. So I just bet on some top threes and I put Bowman and Briscoe in there and was hoping Denny won. Sure enough, look
So
look at how we
wait, so
finished
so were those two bets parlayed together? Or were they two individual
No.
bets? Ah,
Two
okay.
You can't do
individual bets.
parlays.
Okay, the parlay would have been crazy for that, I think.
So you know what's funny about that? That a few years ago, at least FanDuel, I'm sure you can find
I
some
bet NASCAR parlay
platform.
hit by somebody who picked up on like a super
Yes.
speedway race. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Is it was like a Daytona race one year or a Dega or like one of these super speedways. Like people were just hitting, like just nabbing these like high end top 10 parlay bets. And they were just like, I'm going to take a few backmarker guys that got high plus numbers on their, for their car that they're just high odd and like really no chance. And they ended up the big one happened. It wiped out most of the field. And it was mostly one of those back markers to the front type of finishes.
Yep.
And they had to pay out so much money that they've stopped doing the
Yeah.
same game parlay.
Can't get parlays on NASCAR anymore. Not really.
Yeah, like, and I'm sure there's platforms that do it. It's just like I know I primarily have used like FanDuel. I haven't seen it. I don't know if you can do it on DraftKings, but
DraftKings, I use DraftKings and you can't, like, ever.
so there you go.
I mean, you'd have to think guys setting bets with no super speedways are more random, and thus the numbers have got to be lower. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
make the long
You would
shots
think.
crazier, right? Like obviously road course races, guys got to know SVG now becomes
Oh, absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know,
the odds
to
for
the front,
SVG
right.
for the last few weeks were it was hardly even worth it.
right.
To go. You usually had to go and try and find some kind of a prop
Right.
to work with that. But
So
yeah, so I nailed that one. I was joking with these guys and others. I was like, I am NASCAR Damas. Like I picked I picked exactly how this thing was going to finish. Got victory lane, got my driver to win, got the whole thing. This is
Yep.
the only time this is ever going to happen, right? Like I'm at the point where I'm just like jinxing myself. I'm like, dude, I'm calling all these now.
Right.
Like I'm going to hit the cold streak here at some point, but
Yeah.
it was nice. Like my heart got the win, and then my pocketbook got a little coin. So it was an interesting situation there
Sure.
for our Dover
Yeah.
race.
The return of Dover kind of brought some names back to the front, though. Larson having a really good race, driving from the back to the front. Kind of underrated. He definitely would have had a chance to win there at the end of that race, but kind of like one of those things we haven't heard the 5 driving around with much pace. Ryan Blaney was fast. I think he ended up finishing tops at the Fords all across the board are always off at Dover. Not their spot.
Not really their forte, no.
Yeah, it is a Gibbs Hendrick shop at the moment, but this track was always and it has always been a place where you're not expecting to see a ton of passing for the lead. It's honestly it was almost always considered like worse Bristol in that like Bristol was always the fun track. And then Dover was like similar in that it traditionally used the 1.5 mile package. It was high banked and stuff. But it seems like with this next gen car, it's flipped, and Dover, despite the rain, is putting out better races and performances than we are seeing than Bristol at the moment. So, real interesting there. Maybe they just make Dover a dirt track. Maybe we race the horse race. Let's do the horse track at Dover Downs. NASCAR Dover Downs on the horse track. See how that goes.
I kind of wonder, like, so we saw what they did with Atlanta with changing the banking and making modifications, and now Atlanta is one of the hottest commodities of the season. Dover is deceivingly high banked, at least in 2 of the turns. and is notorious for having sort of uneven but high bank turns for a shorter track, for a mile track, and also is notorious for its bumpiness and you having to be accurate on exit and getting out. Otherwise, you kind of get shot into the wall, or you get basically shot right into the bumpiest part of the track, and you can lose all your momentum going that route. With this next gen car, like banking does make a pretty significant difference as far as like what the competition does on the track. I think
Right.
it's interesting to see
I mean,
that where it plays a bigger role than I think it was initially anticipated.
dude, it was rubbering up. There was 2 lanes. The whole first part of that race really wasn't that bad from what I was seeing. I mean, again, I was kind of watching the onboard of 48, passing a ton of cars. I like seeing the comers and goers, the long run speed, the shorts. When people say a track can't pass, it's that like after that 20 laps, everything's evened out and nobody, like there's no such thing as long run speed. Everybody's just kind of coasting around. But to see Bowman just like run people down, pass people, run people down, pass them, it was fine. It wasn't, again, not a banger of a race, but we've had some really, really, really good racing lately. So this felt fine as a return to the oval. And of course, we still have Ty Dillon, 32 seed in the in-season bracket. Found a way.
Ty Gibbs.
Found a way to get past John Hunter, and it continues. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the news, the controversy about the in-season bracket. They announced back then, when they came out, that the payout goes to whom? Driver, right?
Yeah.
It does not. NASCAR clarified today that the money is going to the team owner.
Come on, man. Like this whole time, the whole bit has been like Ty's like, I want that $1 million. That means a lot to me.
Now, granted, team owner, I mean, he's not a Richard Childress guy, so the team owner isn't even going to be. And that's the downside is we know what the right thing to do is if you're the team owner, right? We know what the right thing to do is. Give the team the money.
Does the team owner know that that's the right thing to do? It's the question.
Welcome to Finn's Talk About Capitalism. No, the team owners are going to keep the money. Like, you know what I mean? And it's built upon what the contract is with the driver's contract, right? And how much money they get for exhibition payouts or things like that. Same deal with the All-Star Race. All-Star Race does not pay to the driver. All-Star Race pays to the owner, which I think is the corniest thing ever. So that's stupid, just to put it bluntly. But either way, the tournament has been extremely fun. And if a 32 seed wins the tournament in the first year, let's throw some things out there. Ty Dillon has a win at Indianapolis in the Xfinity Series. Ty Dillon is good at this track, and they've got a lot of momentum. And you got to think, man, sponsorship. I don't know if they can get short-term sponsorship money into this car for this week that quickly. But there's got to be something about, hey, man, put some extra dollars in this car this week because we can make some real money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When those, like, I was excited about that kind of thing. Like, this is just a weird, like, memory throwback from a local quote thing. But, like, whenever I see, like, Dylan getting hyped about the million and I see the drivers getting hyped about that kind of thing, one of the things that throws me back to, so back in the day, on one of Washington's Super Bowl runs, I want to say it was for the '82 Super Bowl. Joe Theismann got in the huddle before the NFC Championship game. No, it was before the Super Bowl, and he gets in there and he starts talking to guys. And this is where we've come as far as where NFL money is now. But he walks in and his inspiring speech to the rest of the guys in that huddle was, we worked harder than anybody else to get here. Nobody can beat us. And it's worth $70,000 and a big ring. And the entire team goes berserk, like gets pumped up, goes out there and just, and beats the Dolphins, wins the Super Bowl. Everybody's happy. Like just, awesome stuff. But like when I hear like the drivers getting excited, like, yeah, I'm gonna get that $1 million, and like, these like
there's some
guys in the pits, and like it's like, yeah, this is tight. Like you're gonna see, some fortune getting in on some of these. You're gonna see like this direct reward. And then today it just kind of craps on that a little bit.
Dude, I'm telling you, you're right. Like there's something to be said about it in sports. I'll give you one more, not to go and share like favorite quote moments or whatever, but just like if you go back to the World Baseball Classic just a couple years ago, right? I encourage, if you're watching this podcast, go watch it. Shohei Ohtani, who is the #1 baseball player in the planet, possibly that's ever walked this planet, is a Japanese baseball player, and he's representing Japan in this baseball classic, and they're playing the United States in the finals. It's the big dogs, and he sits there and he's giving a speech to his team that's filled mainly with there's only 2 MLB players on the team, him and a guy named Lars Nootbaar, who's only part Japanese.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then a bunch of Japanese baseball players, and he says, I know it's Mookie Betts, and I know that it's Mike Trout, and I know you look up to them, but for just today, I want you to not look at them as your idols and to just look at them as other players on the field. And he's calm, and he's just telling them, he's just humanizing. He goes, hey, I know that they're superheroes to you, but for today, they're just the other team. And they go out there, and they're playing the United States, and they're going tit for tat. And then in the bottom of the 9th, Shohei Ohtani, the best hitter on the team, goes out there as a reliever, and he strikes out Mike Trout to win the game. I think it might be one of the best sportsmen of all time, but that's what I was thinking of when you're saying that. Is just like, yeah, just imagine the aura right now of the 2 ties and their teams and what they got on the line, right? Like every lap matters. It made me even think, like, what would be a crazy scenario is, like, imagine if all 4 championship drivers got in a first lap wreck at Phoenix.
Yeah.
And all of the cars are in the pits or garage, and they're just trying to fix. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something to be said about,
to get 1 lap done.
Yeah.
To see
this is
who
like
can
sports
go
movies stuff.
right. Who can get the like we don't get these scenarios often. When was the last time there was I mean, George Mason was the only relevant Cinderella run I ever remember watching, outside of maybe Butler, which you know what? Don't let me say Butler counts. Butler was a good run. They almost beat that Duke team. We don't get a lot of Cinderella runs. First season of the in-season bracket, a 32 seed is taking on Joe Gibbs's golden child. What's to say for Ty Gibbs if he can't win it?
Yeah,
nothing good.
If it's harrowing, imagine
nothing good.
Yeah, the pressure's on Ty Gibbs. The pressure is not
100%.
on Ty Dillon. They're good at this track. They're confident. They're going to have more funding in this. They're going to be operating better. Ty Gibbs is over here going, dude, if I don't win, I'm not even the best tie in NASCAR.
Right. Well, so
much less worthy of a Gibbs ride.
This brings up a question that I think is good. So we got all 3 of us here so we can go with this. I know how I feel about it, but, like, given how this is shaken out, because some people have had what I would consider some boiling hot takes about this particular thing, has the in-season challenge, like, accomplished what it's looking for? Has it been worth it? Is this a valuable product based on the way this is shaken out? And I'm not talking about, oh, well, we do this with, like, we can talk about, like, yeah, you change tracks or you do a different, like, little bits here and there. Tweaking it is one thing. This particular one, the way that it's shaken out, the way the results land here as we go to Indy, is this a valuable product that is worth continuing?
This is a non-answer answer, but I'm going to say it this way. This one has not given me any reason to say that they shouldn't continue to do this in the future, right? Like, it's not the most exciting thing that's ever happened, but there's no reason not to do it either. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad about it. It's the thing about it is that it's different than, like, the NCAA tournament because it's freaking NASCAR. Anything can happen, right? Like, anything can happen at any time. A rainstorm pops up and the whole damn thing gets changed, right? So you just never really know. Ty Dillon, it's a cool Cinderella story, but it's not George Mason. I'm sorry, it's just not. Like, it's not UMBC or any of these other, like, NCAA tournament Cinderella stories. It's cool, but it's not like that, to me at least. I mean, like, it's NASCAR. Anything can happen.
Well, I guess here's my question to you about that is how could it be?
Well, it couldn't.
Okay, so you're saying that on the basis of, like, so is this as close as it could be?
Sure.
For something like that.
Sure.
Okay.
It's a cool thing that they do, but, like, you're going to have a lot of difficulty selling me that this is some kind of generational Cinderella story. It's fun, but it's not. It's just not the same. I don't know. Those are team sports. I mean, I get that this is too, but there's like a lot of moving pieces. And it's like, I have difficulty going there. I'm happy it's Ty Dillon. I'm glad that our bracket was so ballistically far off that it was screwed after the first week of this thing. That's fun. But I can't get behind everybody's going to remember that one time Ty Dillon did that thing. No one's going to remember.
I disagree, bro. So here's where I disagree.
First one?
But I think why it does is why it may not to the general public versus why it should is I don't know if people realize how much different that team is compared to the other teams. Okay? Like,
fair.
And also the tracks, if there's a place to make this an improvement, the tracks could be better. 2 road courses and a super speedway race aren't exactly going to help sell this, right? You're not really getting like the skill of all NASCAR involved, right? Because we went, what was the first race? Pocono?
Atlanta.
No, Atlanta. Sorry, Atlanta.
Echo Park.
Right, Atlanta. And then was it Atlanta then
Chicago,
Pocono?
Atlanta, Chicago, Sonoma, Dover.
Dover, got you, right? Like 2 road course race, super speedway race doesn't. And then a really tough to pass at like short track, like not the greatest 4 tracks for this event. And not gonna lie, right? Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Honestly, 2 super speedways because Indianapolis, you got 5 tracks,
right?
2 super speedways, 2 road courses, and a short
Crown
track.
Jewel is cool, but like we're missing like a Kansas in here. You know, we're missing like a good mile and a half track that is kind of the
racetrack, yeah,
like the bread and butter, right? But that being said, like this is notoriously a forgotten about driver who's had to bounce up and down, who hasn't had the favor of RCR, who's had to go from shitty team to shitty team, part-time rides, hitches up with Colleague because they need a driver. He was driving part-time, now he's driving full-time for Colleague. Colleague sucks. The only time that Colleague is even remotely relevant is when AJ Allmendinger's racing or when SVG was racing road courses last year for them in a Trackhouse prepped car. So this is like a C-tier team that does not compete for wins. And he went head-to-head against Denny Hamlin, which granted wreck, but also Denny Hamlin beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the next week? Keselowski, former champion, beat him.
Yeah,
Alex Bowman. The tournament made a pass for 20th at Sonoma matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I'm not saying the tournament isn't cool. Let me be perfectly clear. I like the tournament as a thing, right?
Right.
You're gonna have difficulty selling me on what Ty Dillon is doing and what George Mason did making the Final Four is the same thing.
So, and the reason why is this. When you play in college basketball, you're winning the games. So
yes.
like you're winning. Like so from a fan standpoint, you're watching them.
You said a minute ago that he doesn't normally compete for wins.
Right.
He's still not.
Right. That's the difference. Is winning but that's just the nature of the sport. But like again, the hype that George, listen, I'm not saying I'm about to go outside and hear somebody at Harris Teeter go, that Ty Dillon guy, man, he's really, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not what we're saying here when we talk about a hype, because NASCAR already isn't that big of a sport, right? But what we're saying is in terms of difficulty and in terms of the accomplishment, I think we're up there. It's just as hard for Ty Dillon to be where he is now as it would be for George Mason to go through their run.
And I agree with you, except for the fact that this entire conversation that we're having is because of a weird caution at Atlanta, followed by the big one wiping out the top 20 guys in the field, right? So it's like...
That's NASCAR, baby.
But I understand, and that's true, but that's why it's different also, because there's so much randomness to it. Right.
Well, so into that, because one of the things you've continued to say is like, you're not selling me on this. Okay, fine. Let me sell you on this one. To me, time will tell, because this has potential to be this every year. And if it does, that's not necessarily good. And the reason, and I know that may sound a little bit backwards. It's like, Cinderella is Cinderella because you don't expect the Cinderella story to happen.
Yeah.
If every year they do this and someone between 30 and 32
Yes.
is
Right.
running into the championship every single time,
Yes.
then it's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
okay,
We can't.
there's too much random.
Yeah, we can't.
We went chalky with our bracket, and that was a mistake. When in fact, you could what I'm seeing here is a bunch of randomness. Right?
Well, it's super speedway. If the super speedway race isn't the first race, you kill most of the bottom seed guys.
Yes.
Where did Ty Dillon? All right, the first matchup: Ty Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Pocono. All right, Ty Dillon's out of the picture because Denny finished second at Pocono.
And it's Pocono was before that.
No, I'm saying if it was
Pocono, Ty Dillon's a non-factor. Denny's winning that race.
Right.
Denny's beating him at Pocono.
All of the
1,000 times out of 1,000.
All of the 32 seeded guys, and barring like a crazy, but at Atlanta, Ty Dillon's just as fast as the rest of the field. So that's probably my biggest criticism of it is if you're going to put a super speedway race in it, fine. I even let it be the finale, but don't let it be the start because now you've introduced the chaos of randomness into the bracket and now you lose. Larson and Hamlin were out of the bracket week 1.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think Byron was as well. So I think if you get rid of that and you make more of a driver's trek, the week 1 race where the better cars are going to perform better and earning the 1 seed matters. Now it doesn't even feel like the seeding even all that matter that much, right? So
Ricky Stenhouse knocked out Chris Bell week 1.
Right. So
it's just like, yes, he got to where he got, and that's very cool. But a lot of top tier competition was out of the tournament also. That would be like all of a sudden
all the 1 seeds drop.
Most of the 11 to 16 seeds win their games in round 1, and now all the good competition is gone. And it's just like that's not really the same, right? It's a cool thing. It is the best that NASCAR can do at this thing, right? Or it's at least a good skeleton of that, right?
Yeah.
But like it needs some tweaking. But if we get a super speedway in the tournament next year, I will find a place to create a random bracket, and that's what I will go with because there is no chalkiness to this. It's just random.
I don't hate the idea of a super speedway being involved, just not in the first week.
Okay.
Like if you do a super speedway week 2, something like that, I could see that. And here's the other thing. Again, this is all boiling back to what I was saying before as well. If next year they do it, and even if they make the change and they do whatever, and then next year, a 31 seed, a 32 seed is in the championship again.
Michael McDowell and John Hunter Nemechek are your
right. And it does that for like if you run this for 3 years and every time somebody, the top drivers are out every time.
Yeah.
Okay. Time is going to tell on that part.
I mean, dude, make Atlanta the last one. Because if Atlanta's the last one, or any of the super speedway races are the last one, now it's a meta game of, well, first of all, as long as they don't wreck out, we know it's going to be down to the final lap. So we have a final lap for the lead and a final lap for the championship or the in-season bracket. Not only that, it might change who you push in the race.
It also matters. The weird thing is that the way the season falls before the tournament actually affects the tournament because guys that we just talked about it with the finish at Dover, guys that already have a win aren't pushing as hard, right? So it's like maybe the guys like a lot of guys that already had wins got knocked out in Atlanta. It's like they were in the back of the field. So like it's kind of like all these moving pieces lead to you just kind of don't really know what's going to happen. And in a more traditional sport, where you're only playing one team, right? And it's not like you're playing one basketball game, but there's 12 other basketball games going on the same court that you're on, right? And just anything can happen. But like it's, there's just so many moving pieces to like the whole bracket thing and where it fits in the season that, again, love it. It's cool. I hope they do it every single year. But I'm not going to bet that we see a 1 and a 3 seed make it to the final, the championship. Like that's not the way it's going to go. It's just not.
Well, let's also boil it down to, like, again, however, like, the consistency of it is the other huge factor here, and I think this played a pretty big role, is you need your faces, you need your premier folks
Yes.
to buy in on this. Denny bought in on it because he had been, he was doing the
Denny
whole thing
created it,
before it
let's be
proposed it,
honest.
right?
Yeah.
And so that was one thing. So I think that's a good sell. The networks have done at least. I think the networks could do more to push it during the actual the race, during the broadcast. But either way, that's another thing. But you need all your faces. Like, you got to Chase Elliott leading into the first race at Atlanta, or it was either the Atlanta race or going into one of the road courses.
Chase Elliott got knocked out in Chicago by Nemechek.
Right. So but the thing is, they did an interview like the day of the race, or like day
I
of
remember that.
qualifying. And in the most Chase Elliott fashion, he was like, "Oh, is that today? Did that happen? Who am I running for?
You know-
Yes, I would like to win."
You know that spell that
tournament.
gets cast on me whenever a Penske driver wins a race and I forget everything?
Yeah,
That is the
that you forget.
constant state of mind that Chase Elliott is in. He is constantly like, if he didn't have like a PR rep or a business rep, people would walk in and be like, "Chase, why aren't you at your meeting?" He goes, "We had a meeting today?" I was
Yeah.
Chase Elliott has the exact personality of a decent banana bread. Like, just
Jeez, he said a decent banana bread of a pasta salad that Nancy made
Dude.
at Thanksgiving. Like, there's just a ton of other options, and the pasta salad's good. Listen, they didn't fuck the pasta salad up. It's good. But there's fried turkey and stuff, and there's just a bunch of other shit there, and it's like, oh fuck, you get to the end of your plate, and you're
Everybody
like,
seems to like it, but it's just
not
dull.
right. It's just not the banger, you know. And then every once in a while, Nancy shows up and she goes, "I used paprika this year," and it's like, great, it tastes the same. So, all right, well,
Canned cranberry sauce.
well, we're on to a crown jewel, and we're gonna have a fun race. Larson won it last year. Had a huge run where he ran from 20 to the front. I didn't get to watch this race last year because I was I was playing a show. I was checking my phone in between songs for that show. So, actually, we were sound checking for it because we didn't have a show in the middle of the day. That would have been weird. But you know how it is. You're moving things around, getting things prepped. So, exciting race. I think I just, another year at the track. It's always a fun track to go to. Who are we thinking of winning this, boys? You want to make our picks?
I think it's pick time, and I went first last time, and I will let's go with Corey going first, because Corey was out last week and didn't even get a prediction in. So,
well, I am going to take a guy who has barely been mentioned this week, who is on an absolute heater, up to 8th in the point standings, where I never would have imagined that he could be. Hometown hero Chase Briscoe.
There you go. He's, dude, killing it.
Yes.
I told you.
I feel like this is my week, Jeff.
Yeah.
I feel like this is my week.
It's very
Briscoe at home.
It's very similar to Pocono, and that he had a great car. You're absolutely right, Indy. Again, not one of the I told you so's, but I'm glad you stayed patient with me, because I told you something's gonna. And for its worth, they haven't solved every problem. They still went out to the lead there and then drifted and fell back. They're still battling problems, but the confidence is there, and that 19 is up front every week now.
Every week.
The ninth. Yeah, he's Saturday, Sunday speeds there. They already got they got the win off their backs. I like that pick. I'm gonna go.
I like that they're not just qualifying well. They're actually racing okay. Like they're doing very well.
Even when they struggled, even when they had some issues and they kind of fell back in the pack a little bit at Dover, he found his way back up to the front, used the restarts to his advantage, and came out P2 almost again. The only reason he didn't win that race is because it was his teammate. He had a faster car. He absolutely was under the 11 and could have used him up. Chase decided not to, and that's fine. But I do think in another life where he didn't have a playoff win, or if that was any other driver, I think we see him send it. I mean, Chase Briscoe is the king of send it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the king of
Yeah,
sending.
if that's a Hendrick driver.
Yeah,
he's going in the wall.
he's sending it. He's sending it.
Yeah.
So I don't think Briscoe's a dirty driver by any means, but I think he's
No.
absolutely saying, "Hey, it's Dover, brother, and I got to win this bad boy. So I'm sticking it underneath you. I got better tires. You'll deal with it."
Right.
I'm gonna go with the 5 car. I'm gonna go back to back. He's gonna be running the Xfinity race. Normally, whenever Kyle doubles up and runs both races, it's really hard to beat him. So I'm gonna go with the easy pick. He's disappeared for quite a bit, so he's the underdog pick now. So Kyle Larson is
Maybe
my
he'll
guy.
finish a race at Indianapolis as well. That'd be a new thing for Kyle Larson.
Hey, he won this one last year. It'd be all right. Listen, most lap time at Indianapolis by any driver in the last 2 years.
That's true.
So I am so my heart goes, obviously, I want the 11 here because this is the one that he hasn't gotten. I want that so bad. That is like so I would happily, like, if you hear me, racing gods, I will happily concede victory lane if it means finally getting to see Denny win in Indianapolis. Finally, yes, I will take it. I will give up victory lane if that's what that means. So, like, that's what I want, but heart and brain. And I think I am going to go into the Ford camp on this one because, like, in the more recent iterations of that, Ford has run like halfway decent. Now we're talking about Harvick running Ford in his runs in 19 and 20, and the weight, I mean, those seasons that he was having were fantastic anyway. But like traditionally it was, Chevy all the way for years and years and years in the 2000s, and then Ford started to make their way up to the front. I'm going to say that this one is going to go to Ryan Blaney.
Interesting. I don't hate it. He's quick. He's still been quick.
Yeah.
Super underrated season. So
Yeah.
that's an all-star
So we'll see
pick. No underdogs there. All right, who we taking in? Are we going to Ty Dillon in the tournament then? Are we all going to be Dillon fans?
I am 100%. Beat my guy in week 1. Go get it. You like that's been my philosophy from the jump. I'm holding on to that.
I'm taking Gibbs.
All right. Oh, okay. I'm going Dillon. I'm on Ty Dillon train. So let's see what we got.
Yeah. So we're 2 tie guys and another tie guy because it's all tie guys. It's yeah.
Dad jokes
all tie guys for no ties. So yeah, but that being the case, I think that's going to wrap things up for us this week. Please make sure you check us out on Spotify, on Twitch, and on YouTube under the name Intentional Wreck. Find us on the socials at IntWreckPod. That's at INTWRECKPOD. Please make sure you check out the Moonlight Racing League on Wednesday nights and check out Finn's calls on those and jump in and watch those streams. They are fantastic. Other than that, let's go to Indy. Let's have some good racing. Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll catch y'all next week.